Well, good morning to you, and I want to thank you for joining me on this Monday. We come back to Exodus to spend a little time in the truth. On Friday, we looked at the call or the cry of the people of Israel to Aaron for an idol. Make us gods. The reason why they cry out for that is because the scripture says, the second half of verse 1, up make us gods who shall go before us. As for this Moses, the man who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him. So their eyes were on Moses instead of on God. Their hope was not in the deliverance of Jehovah or Yahweh. Their hope was in Moses. Moses hasn't been here for 40 days and 40 nights. We don't know what happened to him. So we need a representation of God that is visible, tangible for us. So make us gods. We come to verse 2, and I've been contemplating, meditating, pondering these next few verses all weekend because I'm a little troubled in my own mind in a number of different ways, which I'm not going to share them all with you because they're just questions in my own mind that I'm trying to deal with. But here we have Aaron, who is the leader in the absence of Moses. He is the spiritual leader. We know that already God has given Moses the instruction to anoint Aaron and his sons as priests going forward once the tabernacle is built. So God has a plan for Aaron going forward. Yet here's Aaron in the midst of this demand from the people. And his response is troublesome in my own head. Well, let's just start digging through it. I'm still, running it around in my brain. We'll start digging through it. Verse 2, now it says, so Aaron said to them, take off the rings of gold that are in the ears of your wives, your sons, and your daughters, and bring them to me. So Aaron's response doesn't indicate any objection. It doesn't indicate that he tried to instruct them in a different way or correct their thinking or give them some assurance. God has Moses on the mountain. When God's time is right, Moses will be back. I'm convinced of that. There's no record of any objection on the part of Aaron, which that's part of the question in my mind that troubles me a bit. We know that Moses is the one God called to lead the people. Aaron was his mouthpiece. The leadership ability really belonged to Moses. And here I think we're finding that the leadership ability didn't transmit over to Aaron. He didn't practice that same focus of leadership on the purpose and will of God as Moses did. Because here he, without question, at least what we have recorded in scripture, I was talking to my wife about it yesterday, and she said, well, maybe he did object and God just didn't record it. And that's possible. So I don't want to, I don't know exactly what happened. I wasn't there. I just know what God recorded. And so there's no indication here that Moses or Aaron objected in any way. He just instantly responds with, go get the gold off your family and bring it here. Verse 3, so all the people took off their rings of gold that were in their ears and brought them to Aaron. So they did what he said. You go get them, bring them here. So they responded with that. Verse 4, and he received the gold from their hand and fashioned it with a graving tool and made a golden calf. And they said, "These are the gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt." So, again, no objection from Aaron. There's just complete submission to the will of the people. I will make you a golden calf. Just bring me the gold. And Aaron does that. And upon the completion of the golden calf, the proclamation of the people is that these are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt. Now, is that true? And the answer is no, it's not true. This idol did nothing to get the people of Israel out of the land of Egypt. All that was done to produce the 10 plagues on the people of Egypt, to bring them to the place where they would just kick the people of Israel out of their land as God had said they would. None of that was done by this calf, but now automatically the people give the glory to this thing. Eyes but can't see, ears but can't hear, feet but can't walk. Psalms lays it out for us. And so they instantly give credit to this God. And then Aaron's response in verse 5, again, is troublesome. When Aaron saw this, he built an altar before it. So now he's going to provide not just the golden calf for them, he's now going to provide a means through which they can offer worship to this calf. Only there's a little bit of confusion here. It must have been in Aaron's mind. Back to verse 5, when Aaron saw this, he built an altar before it, and Aaron made the proclamation and said, "Tomorrow shall be a feast day to the Lord." The word in Hebrew is Yahweh. So Aaron's crossing over things here. Aaron is proclaiming a feast to Yahweh, but the process of the feast will include sacrifices to idols, which God has clearly forbidden for the people of Israel back in Exodus chapter 20, when he spoke to them from the mountain and gave to them the 10 commandments. And here already we're ignoring, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make any graven image of anything on the earth, above the earth, under the earth, in the sea." No images. Aaron makes an image, but he calls a feast day to the Lord. So there's this picture of some form of amalgamation of worship, putting together idolatry and Yahweh. Somehow in Aaron's mind, I guess that worked, because he doesn't use the same phrases as the people do. The people say, after the calf is made, "These are your gods." Aaron does not say that we should have a feast day to our gods or your gods, small g. He says we should have a feast day to the Lord, Yahweh. So in Aaron's mind, there's some confusion. He's trying to put these two things together. And sadly, in our world today, much of that happens in the form of worship, even in Christianity. We try to elevate more than just God in our worship. We seem to forget that the single recipient of what we offer is God. We are only to worship him. He is the single recipient. We who are worshiping are not the recipients of the worship. Only God is. If we elevate ourselves to the place where worship has to speak to me, worship has to fit my mold, worship has to be something that I approve of, then we've basically done the same thing that Aaron did here. We've substituted the tangible things in the environment of our worship to the place where they become prominent, but we're saying that that worship is offered to the Lord. No, it's not. And you can disagree with me if you want to, but I don't believe that's true. God is a jealous God. He wants worship and deserves worship. He is the only one who is worthy of praise. And the central focus of all of our worship must be God and God alone. What God does is he reciprocates from his throne his appreciation for that worship, his blessing as a result of those who have come to worship him. That's up to him. That has nothing to do with me. My obligation is to bring to God a singular focus of worship, and that is to exalt him as the creator, sustainer, redeemer, sovereign, provident, holy, righteous, just God. Aaron tries to mix the two in his mind. It's obvious here because he uses the word Yahweh in this worship. But in the minds of the people, that's not what's happening at all. Now, I don't think that's happening at all because they don't acknowledge Yahweh in any way, shape, or form. These are the gods who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, not Yahweh in the language itself. And so Aaron had some mixed idea here, I think. But the people, I don't think, did. They had a singular motive. We want to be able to see this God that brought us out of the land of Egypt, even though it wasn't the God that brought them out of the land of Egypt. And so the feast begins. He declares a feast. Verse 6, and they rose up early, the next day. Well, again, I missed this, I think. When Aaron saw that the people had accepted the calf and were willing to worship, then he said, I'm going to make an altar, and then we're going to offer and have a sacrifice of praise to the Lord. So the altar has also been put in place. And they rose up early the next day and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. So now they begin to sacrifice to this idol in the name of God. Two things don't mix. And then it comes down to what happens afterwards. It says, and the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. And so the people then the feast doesn't end. The ceremony doesn't end with just the feast, the offerings and the feast. The ceremony goes onward. Well, when you look at this word play in the Hebrew, it gives the indication of just an abandoned behavior, just whatever you feel like. And much of it gives the picture of an immoral practice that's taking place. Makes sense when you think about it. The golden calf in Egypt was their god of fertility and sexual strength. That's what they know this thing represents. And so it just follows naturally that there's going to be a lot of sinful behavior involved in the lives of the people as they go forward and finish this feast that they're dealing with. I think we need to be very careful that we're watching how we come before our God. I don't think we're as sensitive to that as we need to be. We're going to find in the narrative to come, start looking at Wednesday, we're going to find in the narrative to come that this in no way is something that's acceptable to God. No way at all. And so we need to really question why we worship and who we worship as we come together. The people of Israel are obviously confused about their worship. Aaron was obviously confused about what was going on in his head in relation to worship as well. Boy, we need to have our understanding of Scripture clearly delineated so that we can understand why we're gathering together, why we have a personal time of worship, and that worship is not about us. It's not about my feelings. Worship is about giving the best gift that I have to the God who has given me life and spiritual life in Jesus Christ. So there's some challenges to think about as we look at Aaron and his response and the people's response. We're going to see how God responds coming up as we get back to this on Wednesday. So I look forward to seeing you then. Thanks so much for watching today, and I'll look forward to seeing you in a couple of days. And keep trusting the Lord, walking with him. And he's always, always faithful. And so we ought to be faithful to him. Have a great day. I'll see you Wednesday.